here we are. Marvel has graced us with a double feature day. And we got Loki Season 2, finale, and The Marvels. And I watched both of them. Had myself a Marvel day. And I thought it was a pretty interesting day. First, Loki Season 2, and then The Marvels. Let's talk about it. Loki Season 2 is one of the best recent projects by Marvel. And this show really loves to put creative ideas and execute them in the best way they could. Sometimes people are not going to be able to follow it though. Sometimes this show can lead into a bit of a mind fuck. It happened to me and it happened to my friend, and we both agreed. This show has some good ass writing. Very good writing. Whoever wrote this show needs to write Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. I need that type of writing going forward, because even though this show might be boring for some people, that's the shit that I like for this show, because it answers the questions I want to get answered, and it goes forward giving me new questions I want answered, and it's just very juicy. It's a juicy show. Loki is the best written character in all of the MCU. He goes from being a selfish ass, petty asshole to wants to just rule everybody with an iron fist, into a person who sacrifices himself to save not only himself, but to save countless others and his friends who taught him how to love, basically. Because, yeah, the end, bro. Oh my god. And Owen Wilson, man. When I heard Owen Wilson was going to be in a Marvel project, I was hyped. Because I like Owen Wilson, one of my favorite actors, and I love his character Mobius in this show. Season 1 and Season 2, he's both great. Wow. I'd say this show uses time travel in the best and most creative way we've seen in recent media. Maybe since Back to the Future trilogy. This show revolves around the idea of time travel on alternate realities. And since the MCU likes to deal with the multiverse now, since we're in the multiverse saga, it's very cool to see how the multiverse can be explored in different creative ways. And that's what this show does completely. It explores every creative idea they have in a very creative way, and I want to see more of that. I'm very glad it was Marvel's idea to get creative with these projects going forward, because some of these projects, yeah, sometimes you see something really cool and outrageous and spontaneous, but sometimes you do see more of the same shit they've been doing since 2008. And that's cool. I do, and I love that. I enjoy that as much as I can, but at some points you're like, okay, I want to see something wacky. I want to see something different. I want to see something crazy. And Loki fits the bill completely that. Season 1 and 2. Especially with the variants, because thanks to this show, we now have knowledge in Marvel for every variant and different universes and different alternate realities and different times. This show shows you many different variants of any character can exist anywhere, and it really should. It makes it easier to understand how old characters from old movies and old stuff can come into this universe, and that's great. And bear with me on this, because some of this shit is hard to explain. And the TVA being a thing, I feel like the TVA is another character in this show, showing how, Season 1, you had all the mystery, who made it, who's responsible for this, why does this place exist? And in Season 2, you're like, oh, we need to save this place, because if we don't save it, it's just going to lead the way to something much, much worse, a multiversal war. Especially with the character Immortus, or soon to be Kang the Conqueror. And in this season 2, Jonathan Majors returns, but as Victor Timely, another Kang variant. And this one, he's very nice. He's a very nice guy, innocent man. And you're like, wow, it's crazy how there's variants that are such fucked up evil monsters that it just obliterate timelines. And man, we gotta stop. We gotta work with this guy to stop what's coming later, because we need to save as much people as we can, because we don't want timelines getting obliterated. Especially that cliffhanger in episode 4, when everyone thought, oh, what, did they all die? Bam, that's the kind of shit that puts your whoa, what just happened right now? And yeah, in episode 5 it shows that they're all fine, but it shows that without the TVA, maybe they'll be happy. Maybe they'll just go on to live their normal lives. Maybe Sylvie can stay working at her McDonald's. Maybe Mobius can raise his family. Maybe the black TVA officer. I'm so sorry, I forgot her name. Maybe she could just stay being a nurse. Maybe they'll be happier if they're just living their normal lives. But maybe that's not all the case. Maybe there's something there in the TVA that we need to save, and not just like it's like teeter-totter. Like, one side you're like, I get you, and then the other side I'm like, okay, I don't know if I get you, but maybe there's something there. And that's what Tom Hiddleston does as Loki in this show. Tom Hiddleston's such a good ass actor, man. Like, wow. I even love Kiwi Hui Kwan as Ouroboros. He's like one of the founders of the TVA. He's the one who writes the rule book. He's the one who writes like all the rules that they go by. And he's like also kind of like a hermit. He keeps to himself, doesn't do anything much besides just stay in his own office space. And he's a very strong character in this whole season 2. And I love seeing him. I love that he's an important, prominent character in this conflict. The ending for this season is a nice, well-packed ending for not just the character Loki, but for the actor Tom Hiddleston as well. He even said it's been a 14-year journey, and he feels satisfied. And I love that Loki becomes the new He Who Remains and saves everyone from wanting to rule everyone and get his throne. Instead, he saves everyone and he gets his throne, and he's the brand new He Who Remains. That's such a powerful ass ending, and I'm glad he got that. And man, I hope we see him again, because season 3 ain't happening. Season 1 and 2 work together well as one. That's what one of the creators said. Season 3 is not happening, so hopefully we see Loki again in Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars. Hopefully. I didn't see that ending coming. Another creative idea, well executed by the team of this show, and I'm so glad season 1 and 2 were made. Now on to the next one. Now, as for the Marvels is definitely filler, but it's fun. It's movies not as bad as people on Twitter are making people think. Like, Jesus Christ, just go watch the fucking thing for yourself. There are some cute scenes in this, and there's also a lot of silliness, and I'll get to that. Now, the Marvels tries to be two things: a sequel to Miss Marvel and a sequel to Captain Marvel. And it does work better when it's a sequel to Miss Marvel, because it's not boring when it's a sequel to Miss Marvel. Because Miss Marvel, her show was full of life and full of like creative looking scenes and architects. And Captain Marvel 1 is pretty fucking boring. Like, let's just be real. And Brie Larson, I don't hate her, but she was pretty boring in the first movie. And she's getting her spunk, but she doesn't fully have it at the time that movie was made. And she's much better in this movie, that's for sure. All three of them, I thought their dynamic was cute. Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. But that dynamic between Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau, it went into a place that I didn't expect it. Like, I didn't really want it to go to that shitty cliche place. It's like, oh, at the end of Captain Marvel 1, Captain Marvel leaves to go take down the Kree Empire that enslaved her. And Captain Monica Rambeau is upset by that, because she's like, you never came back, and I missed you. You said you're going to come back, and you just left us here. You left us. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Because if you didn't notice in, like, WandaVision, even Secret Invasion, there's, like, some scenes where, like, oh, what? We don't talk about Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's, like, we don't talk about her. She's, like, we, like, nothing her. I'm like, why are they, like, giving Captain Marvel, like, some shade? Like, why? I thought they were all best friends. And in this movie, it's shown that Monica Rambeau has beef with Carol because she left. I'm like, bro, she's a super-powered Super Saiyan now and has bigger authorities right now. But, like, you're really going to just be whiny and mopey the whole time because she didn't come back when you were 11. Like, I think we all got more important priorities here. So, like, while the two ladies are beefing, then Aman Vellani as Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, she's MVP here. She's full of life, full of spunk. She's just having a great time, and she loves Marvel in real life too. And that is infectious. It really helps her be convincing Miss Marvel, and she does a really fantastic job in this movie. So props to you, Aman Vellani. And now the villain, Darbin. God, oh goodness Christ. The most petty and stupidest fucking villain ever in the MCU. And I mean that. Like, man, she's so fucking whacked out and crazy to the point where she gets herself killed. And I'm like, man, it was going to happen to you at some point. At least it happened now. She was not menacing either. She was just like a nuisance, a pest, like something just to come on screen to cause a few fights, a few problems, and that's basically it. And then with the point where she dies, I'm like, man, that was very stupid. When it's being a girl power ensemble movie, that's when the movie hits its stride. It's very good, very enjoyable, very fun. But that doesn't mean there isn't ridiculous shit in it. Especially this. Okay, light spoilers, but I'm pretty sure no one gives a fuck because no one's watching this movie. So here's what happens, and I thought it was kind of weird. And this is coming from a person who loves music. That whole scene, that whole sequence where they go to that planet, and everyone just has to sing. They don't talk, they just sing. And I feel like that whole sequence was written by AI, because the way people were delivering the lines, I'm like, man, it sounds like a computer churned this shit out. And I'm pretty sure that was the case. And I gotta say, stop using AI in movies. No one likes it. It sucks. No one's ever gonna like it. I'm serious, bro. Also, the cat scene, or the flirking scene, if you will. When the cat, Goose, has kids, has babies, is pregnant throughout this movie. It's kind of like a running gag, because Miss Marvel's mom calls the cat fat. Like it's fucking Garfield or some shit. And what they do with the cats, when the Sword space station starts crash landing on Earth and somehow does not have any casualties, everyone has to grab a flirkin and swallow all the people on board. And I thought that was very silly. Well, I guess if you're hurtling towards Earth in a space station and there's no escape pods and all you have is a bunch of flirkins, hey, beggars can't be choosers. So to have everyone be hey, okay, just have the flirkins eat them. But no one dies, as the flirkins after a while just cough everybody up and throw everyone out. When Brie Larson becomes a princess, I thought that was really cool. Because she started singing, and I remember her scenes from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and she had some pretty great music in that scene, in those movies. So seeing her bring that over to Marvel, I thought that was really cute, and I thought, hey, she bringing her musical talents over here, that's pretty cool. There's something that I hate when Marvel does this, like, instead of just showing us, they like to tell us. Like, even when this happened in Multiverse of Madness, the Doctor Strange, this happened there too. Is when, okay, in this movie, Captain Marvel gets her name called the Annihilator. It's because in the, like, after the events of the first movie, she goes back to the Kree Empire and takes down Hala. And she's just pretty much goes freaking nuts and just murders everyone there and murders the Supreme Intelligence that abducted her. And they don't really show us more. They don't dive too deep into it. They just show us a glimpse of that and then they stop. I think there should have been more information there, because they did the same thing in Doctor Strange when you see Mordo and then you're like, oh, Mordo's been trying to kill me and he's a bad guy now. And then when you see the other Mordo, you're like, oh, this Mordo's a completely different guy, and we have no idea why. We don't have no idea where the Doctor Strange versus Mordo scene was at, because it wasn't never shown to us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whole other movies took place after the first movie, and it's not present here. It's just told to us and shown a glimpse of, and then that's it. We're supposed to just live with it. Like, us just seeing Carol, to take down the Supreme Intelligence was just to give us the villain's shitty backstory, to have her be the driving force why she's the villain in this movie, and yet after all that she just dies. So wow, that's not really that much significant. Doesn't even get done the goal that she's trying to do, which is resurrect Hala. Doesn't even get that done. Then in the end, guys, after Darbin blows up, Darbin's basically just been blowing holes in time and space, and then Monica Rambeau sacrifices herself. Not really, she just goes to the other side of the portal and has to close it with her light powers. And then she closed it, and she's just trapped somewhere else. And that's where we get to the post-credit scenes. And those post-credit scenes, man, whoa, awesome. Let me get to the Monica Rambeau one first, because that's the meatiest one. So, Monica Rambeau wakes up in the freaking X Mansion. And this is where we see a variant of her mom, Maria Rambeau. But she never had a daughter. Monica Rambeau does not exist in that universe. And in this universe, Maria Rambeau is binary. New mutant. I have no idea who she is, but yeah, I guess we'll find out later, but she's some sort of fire mutant. And then we see the blue hand. We see the blue furry hand. And Kelsey Grammer returns as Beast from the Fox X-Men movies. And my theater went absolutely bananas when we saw, Beast in the MCU for the first time. I was like, oh, yes. And they're using the Fox actors. Yeah. It was weird seeing him in CGI instead of the full makeup like in the other movies, but fuck it, I'll take what I can get. And I am glad this is not the 838 universe and like in Multiverse of Madness, because Beast says Charles wants an update. So I'm glad Charles Xavier exists, and it's heavily implied this is the Fox universe. And I read this theory online that's saying, oh, this could be the Fox X-Men universe in the continuity like of the year 2023, 2024, where the peaceful ending of Days of Future Past took place. So that explains how Hugh Jackman Wolverine is there. That explains how the whole X-Men team is there. And that explains how Kelsey Grammer Beast is there. And I'm like, wow. So that's where the MCU can be pulling from their actors. So it makes Deadpool 3 make more sense, because Deadpools already existed in that universe. And so was Hugh Jackman Wolverine. And man, oh man, I just cannot wait for Deadpool 3. How they do that, I'm just glad X-Men are finally here. And I'm glad that they're just using the old actors, because that's like the most easy and less confusing way to do it. Just seeing familiar faces, and that's fantastic. And then for the second post-credit scene, it's definitely the second post-credit scene. I don't know why they just had it as the end scene of the movie, but anyways, yeah, Miss Marvel pulls a Nick Fury and tries to recruit Kate Bishop from the Hawkeye series. And that was great seeing Kate Bishop back again. I was like, wow. Because in Hawkeye, she's the best part of Hawkeye, for me at least. Like, I love Jeremy Renner, but like Kate Bishop was just a great addition to the MCU. And I'm glad I saw Haley Steinfeld come back as Kate Bishop. And it seems like they're setting up a Young Avengers movie with Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop, and Cassie Lang stature. And there's more people you can add to that team, but I'll be interested in like a grounded Young Avengers movie. And then when you get to the big shit, that's like Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. That's when you get to the bigger stuff. But like a grounded Young Avengers movie could be really cool. It could be awesome. I'm down for that. I'm interested in that, and I want to see if they do that. In the end, guys, the Marvel was fun. It wasn't great. It wasn't that awesome, but like it was fun. Like, I don't like hating on movies. Like, that's just not who I am. But like, it wasn't the best movie ever. I gotta be honest too, because the movie had some silly, ridiculous stuff in it. But like, I didn't hate it. I had a fun time with it. But what do you got? I know this movie's not doing well at the box office, and everyone says, "Oh, Marvel's in shambles," and that's complete bullshit. Because like, as soon as they said that, the next day Twitter was reacting to fucking Echo trailers and fucking saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, Marvel," and all that bullshit. So what do you call it? Just no. It's not in shambles. This movie was kind of like dead on arrival, at least, because of all the behind the scenes drama. So, but this movie is nowhere near as bad as people are making it sound, bro. I promise you that. If anything, it's mid. Fun mid. Not great, but not terrible either. Like, you know. But this movie, if you're interested in it, it's at least worth the watch. And if you've been hating on what Marvel's been pumping out over the last few years, I think you should either be very selective with your content or just hit the road and watch some other stuff that actually interests you, because life is too short to be wasting your time on stuff that you don't like, unless you're just trying to ride the hype train. That's basically what most people are trying to do when they just stick with these movies and they go on Twitter and start bitching for a good hour. It's up to you guys, but I'm just saying this movie is nowhere near as bad as people on Twitter are making it seem. Like, come on. Nothing but the truth here. Loki is an 9 out of 10, and the Marvels is 6.5 out of 10.